September 1726. Mary Toft, the 25-year-old illiterate servant, claimed that she was giving birth to rabbits. The first rabbit was delivered with the help of a neighbour and Mary's mother-in-law. She was married to Joshua Toft, a clothmaker. Joshua supported his wife's claims to the rabbit births. Obstetrician John Howard went to see Mary, where he was showed the animal parts Mary had allegedly given birth to. Over a short period of time, he delivered several more rabbits himself. Howard moved Mary to Guildford, where he lived and worked, so he could keep a closer watch on her. He wrote about Mary and her rabbits to Nathaniel St Andre, the royal surgeon to the household of King George I. St Andre, excited and intrigued, travelled there to examine her himself. He also delivered Toft's 15th rabbit and brought some of the animals back to London to show the king. St Andre conducted tests on the rabbits and thought that even though it seemed impossible that they could have grown in Toft's womb, there might be something supernatural happening here. Sir Richard Manningham, another doctor who examined Mary, said that he could see what appeared to be the unborn rabbits moving in her stomach. Meanwhile, her case was garnering public attention. Londoners were fascinated with the story, and Toft became something of a local celebrity. At the time, people's understanding of conception, pregnancy and birth was primitive compared to what we know today. Additionally, monstrosities and abnormalities were a common draw in the 18th century, and Toft's story played on these interests. King George then sent a different royal physician, Syracuse Arles, to see Toft and investigate the case. He noticed that when she walked around the room, presumably while in labour, she would keep her thighs and knees pressed together, as if keeping something from falling. Toft birthed another rabbit in Arles' presence. As Arles examined the rabbit parts, he found pellets inside of one of the rabbits that showed it had eaten hay. Toft was moved to a bathhouse in London and put under the close supervision of several physicians as they waited for her to give birth to an 18th rabbit. There, one of the bathhouse porters was caught trying to smuggle a rabbit into Mary's room. Either Mary or one of her in-laws put the porter up to it. Manningham may have even threatened to do painful examinations on Mary if she did not confess. She ultimately produced several different confessions that contained a lot of inconsistencies. A historian who studied the Toft medical hoax has said that, reading Mary's confessions, it seems like she was put under a lot of pressure by others around her to carry out this hoax. She said, "I will not go on any longer with this. I shall sooner hang myself." Nathaniel St Andre publicly retracted his previous beliefs about Mary's case in an attempt to clear his name. He published a pamphlet about the case in which he described the following. Months before Toft's bizarre claims, she had been pregnant when she was startled by a rabbit while weeding in the garden. She ran. She then became obsessed with rabbits, dreaming about them and for about 3 months wanting to eat them. At some point between this episode and her rabbit births, Toft had a miscarriage in what was described as a traumatizing event. Mary Toft was sent to prison for several months, though she had not actually committed a crime. The public quickly lost interest in the case, and nobody wanted to continue to damage the medical profession's reputation. Eventually, she was released without charge and returned home. In truth, she had been inserting animal parts into her body, keeping them there for up to hours at a time, and then pushing them back out as if giving birth. An event that, albeit a hoax, would have been really uncomfortable. This was one of history's most infamous medical hoaxes.